This company I'm going to cover today dominates customer relationships for businesses around the world. It generates over $40 billion a year, and it might be entering its next major growth phase driven by AI. This is the company Salesforce. In this video, I will cover the business, what does Salesforce do, how do they earn money, if they have a moat, how good their management is, if AI is a risk or a tailwind for the company. Then I will go through their financials and do a discounted cash flow valuation to determine the intrinsic value of the stock. So what exactly does Salesforce do? At its core, Salesforce is a global leader in customer relationship management software, also known as CRM. Its platform helps companies manage everything from sales pipeline to customer service to marketing campaigns all in one place. Its main products include Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Commerce Cloud. But over time, Salesforce has expanded far beyond just CRM. Today, it also owns Slack for communication, Tableau for data analytics, and is heavily pushing into AI with products like Einstein and Agentforce. And this is where the strategy becomes powerful. Salesforce doesn't just sell one tool. It sells an entire ecosystem where all your customer data, workflows, and teams are deeply integrated. Now let's talk about how Salesforce actually make money. Around 95% of its revenue come from subscriptions. Customers pay per user per month, creating a highly predictable and recurring revenue stream. But the real growth driver is upselling. A company might start with just Sales Cloud, then add Service Cloud, then Marketing, then AI tools. And over time, that customer becomes deeply embedded in the Salesforce ecosystem. This is called the land and expand model, and Salesforce has mastered it. So who are the customers? Primarily large enterprises. We're talking about Fortune 500 companies, government, and global organizations. These customers rely on Salesforce for mission-critical operations, which makes switching extremely difficult. And that brings us to one of the most important parts of the business, the moat. Salesforce has a very strong moat, mainly driven by high switching cost. Once a company builds its entire sales and customer infrastructure on Salesforce, leaving becomes incredibly expensive and risky. On top of that, Salesforce has a massive ecosystem of integrations and apps, and it acts as the central hub for customer data. All of this makes it very hard to replace. Now let's look at the competition. Salesforce competes with Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, and HubSpot. But despite this, Salesforce is still the clear leader in CRM globally, with over 20% market share. Its biggest threat today is Microsoft, especially as Microsoft bundles CRM with its cloud and AI offerings. Next, management. Salesforce is still led by its founder, Mark Benioff. He built the company into what it is today, and that founder-led structure is a big positive. However, capital allocation has been mixed. Salesforce made some large acquisitions like Slack and Tableau, which not everyone agrees were great deals. But recently, management has shifted focus. They are now prioritizing profitability, share buybacks, and returning capital to shareholders. In fact, Salesforce has authorized tens of billions in buybacks and even introduced a dividend. Now let's talk numbers. Salesforce generates over $40 billion in annual revenue. Growth has slowed down to around 8 to 10%, which reflects a more mature company. But profitability is improving. Gross profit margin is as high as 77.7%. Free cash flow margin is increasing and year over year and reached 34.7%. This shows that the company has good operating leverage. More revenue leads to more free cash flow. Net income reached $7.5 billion. Free cash flow reached a record $14.4 billion. This is no longer just a profitable company, it is a cash machine. Now let's look at the balance sheet. The company has around $9.56 billion in cash. They have $4 billion in short-term debt and $10.4 billion in long-term debt. The debt is long-term if we look at the maturity date of the debt. so it doesn't cause any issues in the recent future. The companies still have years to pay them. Furthermore, with $14 billion in free cash flow every year, the company can pay back their debt within 1 year. So the balance sheet is very strong. For total shares outstanding, the company has been using its cash flow to buy back shares. Shares outstanding decreased from 990 million shares to 929 million shares in 2026. So does Salesforce actually pay a dividend? The answer is yes, but it's probably not what you'd expect. Salesforce only recently started paying a dividend, which already tells you something important. This is not a traditional income stock. It's still primarily a growth company that's just beginning to return capital to shareholders. Right now, Salesforce pay about $1.76 per share annually, which comes out roughly as $0.44 per quarter. And when you translate that into a dividend yield, it's around 0.9%. Now that's quite low. For comparison, many classic dividend stocks offer yields between 3 to 6% or even higher. So if you're investing in Salesforce purely for income, this probably isn't the stock you're looking for. But here's the key point. The dividend is small by design, and that's actually a good thing. Salesforce is only paying out 20 to 25% of its earnings as dividends. That means the payout is very safe, and more importantly, the company has plenty of room to increase it over time. At the same time, dividends are not the main way Salesforce return capital to shareholders. The bigger story is shares buyback. The company has authorized tens of billions of dollars in stock repurchases, which reduces the number of shares outstanding and increases earnings per share over time. So in reality, most of the shareholder return is coming from buybacks, not dividend. Now, what are the risks? First, slowing growth. Salesforce is no longer growing at 20 to 30% like it used to. Second, competition, especially from Microsoft. And third, the big one, AI disruption. There is a real concern that AI cloud reduces the need for traditional software as a service tools. But Salesforce is fighting back by positioning itself as a platform for AI agents, with products like Agentforce and Data Cloud growing rapidly. Let's do a bull and bear case. First, the bull case. The biggest argument in favor of Salesforce is simple. AI actually makes its core product more valuable. Salesforce is not just a CRM anymore, it's becoming an AI-powered operating system for customer relationships. With tools like Einstein AI and its broader AI cloud, Salesforce is embedding artificial intelligence directly into everyday workflows, writing sales emails, answering customer service tickets, and even generating marketing campaigns. And that's powerful, because instead of replacing Salesforce, AI is enhancing it. It makes every employee more productive, which means companies get more value out of the software they're already paying for. And when customers get more value, they don't leave, they expand. That leads to the second big advantage, data. Salesforce sits on one of the largest data sets of customer interactions in the world. And in the age of AI, data is everything. AI models are only as good as the data they've been trained on. And Salesforce has a massive edge here, because it combines three things that are very hard to replicate: the data, the distribution, and the workflow integration. This creates a powerful moat. On top of that, AI opens up an entirely new revenue stream. Salesforce can now charge not just for software seats, but for AI capabilities layered on top. Think of it as a new monetization layer, one that could significantly increase revenue per customer over time. And maybe most importantly, AI increases switching costs. If a company trains its AI models on Salesforce data and those models are deeply embedded into daily workflows, switching to a competitor becomes much harder. So in the bull case, AI doesn't disrupt Salesforce, it strengthens it, deepens its moat, and drives higher long-term growth. But now let's look at the bear case, because it's also very important. Because there is a real risk here, and it's not a small one. The biggest concern is that AI could actually commoditize CRM software. If AI agents become good enough, they might replace traditional workflows entirely. Instead of humans manually updating CRM systems, AI could handle sales, customer support, and marketing automatically. And if that happens, the CRM itself becomes less valuable, just a database in the background. That's a problem, because Salesforce's entire business model is built on charging per user or per seat. But what happens when companies need fewer employees because of AI? Fewer employees mean fewer licenses, and that puts direct pressure on revenue. This is one of the most important long-term risks investors need to understand. Then there is execution risk. Salesforce has launched several AI products, but adoption hasn't been universal. Some tools are still complex and not all customers are using them at scale. If AI ends up being more hype than reality, Salesforce may struggle to translate innovation into actual revenue growth. At the same time, competition is intensifying. Microsoft is integrating AI directly into its ecosystem. HubSpot is targeting smaller businesses with AI-first tools, and startups are building entirely new AI-native CRM platforms from the ground up. AI is lowering the barrier to entry, and that means Salesforce is being attacked from all sides. And finally, there are trust and security concerns. AI systems can hallucinate, leak data, and create compliance risk. For large enterprises, that's a big deal, and it could slow down adoption more than many investors expect. So in the bear case, AI doesn't help Salesforce. It slowly erodes its pricing power, weakens its business model, and opens the door for disruption. Now here is the reality. AI is probably both a tailwind and a risk, just at different times. In the next 3 to 5 years, AI is likely a strong tailwind. It improves the product, drives upselling, and increases customer value. But over the long term, 5 to 10 years out, the picture becomes less clear, and everything comes down to one key question. Does AI live inside Salesforce and is a part of it, or does it replace Salesforce? If AI is embedded within Salesforce, the company becomes stronger than ever. But if AI becomes the main interface and Salesforce is pushed into the background, then its core value could shrink over time. That's the bet, and that's why AI is both the biggest opportunity and the biggest risk for Salesforce. Now let's discuss management guidance for fiscal year 2027. Revenue is expected to grow by 10 to 11%. Same goal for free cash flow. It is also expected to grow by 10%. Now let's jump to valuation. Assuming a growth of 5%, management is expecting growth to be around 10% as mentioned previously. But let's be conservative. For the terminal multiple, I am assuming 12. If we look at the price to free cash flow ratio, the lowest it has been is 15. 15 is realistic for a quality company with recurring revenue. But let's be conservative again and consider 12. Based on these conservative assumptions, the intrinsic value of the stock is $304.9. The current price is $187. That gives us a margin of safety of 39%. The stock has to grow by 63% to reach the intrinsic value, plus you have the yearly growth on top. Now for what I will do with my money, I will invest in the company when the stock reaches the $150 level. For now, I will keep it in my watch list of quality companies. So what's the final verdict? Salesforce is no longer a hyper-growth stock. Instead, it's evolving into a high-quality compounder with strong cash flow and powerful moat and significant upside from AI. But going forward, execution will be key because in a world increasingly driven by AI, even market leaders have to keep proving themselves. And Salesforce is now entering that next chapter. What do you think of Salesforce? Are you a shareholder or considering buying? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.